group says the request is offensive, tone-deaf and a gesture that holds the people in contempt. Well, we can speak now to Caroline Farrow, who joins us on the line. She's a columnist at the Catholic Universe Weekly. Good morning to you, Caroline. Really, really good to have you with us. So what do you make of this? And you've got the allegiance, haven't you? I think Eamon's got it with him.
Oh, sorry, no,
it says, oh, don't worry, I've got it here. It says, I swear that I will pay true allegiance to your majesty, to your heirs and successors according to law. So help me God. What do you think of this, Caroline? Will you be saying that?
No, I won't. And that's coming from somebody who I'm not a Republican, I am a monarchist. I think a constitutional monarchy is a better system. But I think the problem we have is that this is very anachronistic, and it's also quite coercive. You know, we're inviting people of goodwill. So I think, as David Mellor said just earlier in this segment, if you don't say it, then you sort of stand out, or you're not a person of goodwill. And the problem is we live in such a celebrity culture. I think it's very difficult, particularly for people of a younger generation, to see this as anything less as than pledging allegiance to a very flawed individual. I think maybe if we'd been invited to give our allegiance to the crown, you know, because I mean the thing is, the king is the symbol of the United Kingdom. He's a tangible symbol of our nation state. So I can understand the reasoning and sentiment behind it, but it does actually jar. It does feel out of touch. And also, and I say this from a religious perspective and a Christian perspective, asking people to swear by God when a lot of people aren't religious, aren't Christian, again, it just feels slightly coercive, and it feels as if we are almost like something out of a communist state, funnily enough, you know, being asked to pledge ourselves to be loyal subjects. So I think it's misfired.
So is there I just want to know, Caroline, is there anyone you would pledge allegiance to?
I pledge allegiance. You see, I take swearing oaths very seriously, Eamon. So I would pledge allegiance to God. I would also pledge allegiance to the Pope, the Holy Father, who's the Vicar of Christ and Christ's representative here on earth. And I think I would pledge allegiance, you know, to support my country, but actually pledging allegiance to be a loyal subject. I mean, it's perfectly possible to be a Christian, but actually to be a Republican. So I'm just very uncomfortable about pledging. What does that mean? Unless it's not even properly defined what that means to pledge allegiance to somebody and then to their heirs and successors. Well, you know, it buys into this whole notion of kingship. And what does kingship mean, or what does the monarchy mean? And I think people need to really think about what they are pledging to. And so, if you're a deep and thoughtful person, then you might feel uncomfortable with this. Alternatively, you could say, hey, what does it matter? This is me just saying, you know, I'm very proud of being British and I support my country. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But personally, I feel uncomfortable with it. And it's interesting, I was canvassing Catholics, and there was a real split. You know, my husband, who is formerly a Church of England minister, said, well, Caroline, I've been swearing oaths to the Queen all my life. This is completely normal. You know, this isn't something we should get het up about. But as this is such a new thing, I think, for Brits, and we are a very different country to how we are 70 years ago, it's not surprising that for many of us, it does feel a little bit jarring, and I'm not sure that the palace has really thought this one through, or the Archbishop of Canterbury even.
But aren't we just getting a bit het up over this, though? To use your own phrase, the Archbishop of Canterbury said it's all just about inclusion and inviting the public to be a part of this coronation ceremony. We were talking earlier about children in US high schools. They pledge allegiance to the flag every single morning. It's just part of their daily routine. I have fond memories being in the Brownies and looking at a picture of the Queen and pledging allegiance then to serve her and the country to the best of my being. I mean, it's just people are making a big deal out of all of this, aren't they?
Yes and no. I mean, that the country will be watching, and so the country is being invited to join in. So, and yes, it is an invitation, but this idea of it's inclusive. I mean, again, it speaks to this idea we don't really have much commonality in this country anymore. So it's an appeal to improve. It's an appeal to our commonality. We're all together. We're all in this together, which I understand. But actually, the whole ceremony cannot be inclusive because it is about the king being crowned and head of the Anglican or Protestant Church. Although we've got people of other faiths, making symbolic gestures, they can't really be included. It feels like a sort of bit of tokenism, really, because according to Church of England canon law, they can't be included in the service, and I support that, to be honest. I support the whole Christian nation, the Christian element of it, but it does raise a few interesting issues about the monarchy and the UK where we are today.
Well, thank you for highlighting them, Caroline. Really appreciate that. Caroline Farrow from the Universe Weekly magazine, speaking to us this morning live from Guildford in Surrey. Your views, very welcome.
Yes, let us know what you think of that. Coming up, we'll